common factoring, which technically is the easiest type of factoring, but unfortunately it often mixes with other things, making it a little more difficult. Oh yeah, already some Christmas decos up. Here's the warm-up example. This is reaching way back into your memory when distribution was less complicated. It wasn't FOIL yet. It hadn't become FOIL yet. It was just one number out in front of a set of brackets. Do you remember the shape we drew to help us remember what had to happen here? Yeah, lines. Well, they were arrows, but you did something like that because that reminds you, multiply the 3 by everything that's inside. So what is 3 times 2? 6. So that term gets multiplied by the 3. And this term also gets multiplied by the 3. What's 3 times 5? Plus 15. Does that ring a bell? Because we need it. Yeah, if we can't do that, it's going to be hard to do what's the reverse. This is called expanding. So again, I want you to write that word because it's going to help you when you're doing questions to know which one you're supposed to do. This is called expanding. I didn't write a whole sentence there for you. I just wrote expanding. Okay? Now, today, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do the reverse called factoring. And I'll think of the easiest question I can to do the first one so you get the idea. Because just like Friday, once we do the first one, that's pretty much all I have to accomplish. But the numbers might get more complicated. So then we're going to need to have some clever tricks to work with the numbers. Here's the simplest one I can think of. Okay? Say somebody gave you 5x plus 10, and you wanted to do the reverse. That is, we're going to go this way and say, what did they have before they expanded? So we're unexpanding here, but the word is factoring. We don't call it unexpanding. Oh, you can call it unexpanding if you want. So now, I just chose numbers that hopefully were very friendly. What number was in front of the brackets before this whole thing started? Actually, I like the guesses because the homework actually doesn't make you do the number 73 or 54. It's basically 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, reasonable numbers. What number must have been out front of all this? He says 5, which is correct. 5 is the number. And I want you to stare at it for a minute and go, how can it be the number? And we'll get the answer, and then we're going to find out. Try to remember how you knew. Alex, try to remember how it is you knew it was 5 to help everybody. Hold on. So if he's right, and it was a 5 that was in front of the brackets, what was the first term in the brackets? What? Yes, 1. 1 what? An x. Yeah, there was an x there. Because whoever did this multiplied 5 times x and got 5x. And I encourage you to write those arrows in on the other side too. Go, what happened here? Now, the other thing that happened was they went 5 times something and it ended up with 10. What's that number? 2. What's that number got to be? Plus 2. Well, now the $1 million question. Shh.
I know. She called my hands bony. I did. It's triggering me.
For Alex, how did you know it was a 5?
Because they can both be divided by 5.
I'm going to steal exactly his sentence that he used here, because this is the sentence you're going to have to look back when you're doing the homework. That's what you're looking for today, common factoring. They both can be divided by 5, he says. And it's the perfect sentence. It's the sentence you really need. If you're not going to copy anything else down today, that's the one you got to write down, because that's the one that really tells you what the heck is going on here today with common factoring. Now I fibbed a little bit. I do have one that's just slightly harder. So I might have to get some help from somebody along the way with the slightly harder example. But for now, I'll just write example, and I'll start, and I'll do, because this lesson can be really short if I'm not careful. So I'm going to do a couple of examples. I did notice a couple people asked me questions on Friday. I like when you ask me questions, but I did notice a couple of the questions. It must be that some of you are scrambling to copy and not really zoning in on what I'm saying. So try to add that skill too, where it's like, not only am I going to copy this down, I'm going to try and understand what he's saying. And even if someone else is answering the questions, try to challenge yourself to know the answer to the question. Okay, so here's me coming up with another friendly one. Friendly numbers here, okay? Eight x plus 10. What must have been in front of the brackets before this thing started? A number. Yes. What number? Why 2? It's right. Well, why? Yeah, it's right. 2. Oh, let me put it out there. Just to build her confidence there. 2. It must have been a 2. It must have been a 2. Why 2? Because she likes 2. She's like, please let it be 2. I want it to be 2. What is it about the numbers that tells me it's going to be 2?
They both can be divided by 2.
They both can be divided by 2. And for some of you, it's like, well, it's going to be easy to look at the ones that have 2's because both the numbers are even. So if you can recognize even numbers, you're always going to know 2 is going to work. So then what was in the brackets then? What did the person multiply 2 by?
4x.
4x, good. And what did they multiply?
5.
And 5. That's the whole deal today. Factoring. So did you write this arrow up here? I just want to write this here. Go, here's what we're doing today is, again, we're factoring. We're going backwards in this process. And it's okay if your question now is like, why do I care? Well, you just have to trust me that it's going to matter that we can go back and forth between these two modes. All right. Because of the way things went on Friday, I'm going to do this slightly differently. I'm going to put one on the board. Don't get help right away. Try on your own to see if you can knock down this next one. Then I've got a couple of slightly harder ones ready to go, okay? Do you need more time here? All right, here comes my you try example. Somehow I switched to red. I didn't mean to, but now I'm committed. Let's see. No. It's not right. It's not right. It's not what I wanted. That's the one I want. Just slightly harder. Spend a moment thinking about it. Don't say it out loud. Shh. It's not 6. Fortunately, I'm glad because you shouted out the wrong answer. Spend a little time staring at that thing. And if you're like, this is the problem I have, I don't like these, I can show you how to make that multiplication table I gave you the other day work for these two. But for now, challenge yourself. See if you can figure out what the number is. What's the number? And then if you can get the number, write down the number and figure out what must have been in the brackets. I want to give everybody time to think and come up with either a strategy or decide you don't have a strategy, in which case you're really going to care about what we say when we do it next. Let me look. What's the number?
4 and
Yes. That's the number. That's the number. See how long I'm waiting? Some of you are impatient with yourselves. You think if it doesn't come fast, I might not be very good at this. No. Sometimes math takes a little bit of time. Take the time, figure out what the number is. Who's got the number? Oh, wait. Hang on to that number. And after I do this one, go, hey, why not this number? And we'll talk about it, because it's a good number. What do you got? 4 is the best number. No, I'm going to talk about 2. Don't dismiss 2 yet. Negative 6 does not divide into these. Okay, now what's the first term in the brackets if 4 is right? And we can talk about these other numbers in a second. It's not 4x. 3x. Now, how can you do that? Well, some people who are strong in multiplication tables will go 4 times 3 is 12. I just know it's right. Other people might have to do this. They might have to up here go, just a second here. 12, I'm going to divide by the 4 to figure out what goes there. You might have to use a little division if your multiplication tables just aren't there, or if the numbers just get too big for you. Yeah? What's the other number? Negative 5. How do we get that? Take the negative 20 and divide it by the 4. Now, what about 2? Someone says 2 works. I'll write it over here in another color. If I took 2 out, I would have got this. They're not really at the door. They're at their locker.
Who is it?
No, that's not the people I want. I want the people that are peeking in like.
Should I ask someone to come to the classroom and then you scare them?
No.
That'd be super funny.
But take a look. If you use 2, there's still another 2 in there. So you could factor off another 2, which is totally allowed. You can do that. But we want to get the biggest number we can out, and it's 2 times 2, which is 4. So take a look to make sure you got the biggest number. They don't get out of hand. There's nothing in the homework that's like 52 or something like that. 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. Maybe there's one with 6 in it. You know, that's as crazy as they get. Okay. 2 questions left. If you're running out of steam, 2 left to show you what the other things we have to do. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Right?
I saw that you like older videos, so like yeah, take them down. I knew you had.
Oops. I wrote down the wrong number there. Hang on. There. First, what we're doing today, because this should scare you. When you see that, you should be like, fully factor? What are you talking about? Well, watch what fully factor means. What number divides into 2, into 8, and into 42? 2. What's nice is when that front number is 2, 2 is the only possibility. So I pull that out of there. I go, okay, 2, pulled out of there. If it was a 2, what was the first term in here? 1 what?
1x to the power of 2.
Good. What was this term? 4x. And what was this term? That's hard. No, it's close. 24 is close. 21. Now, if you didn't do any of Friday's homework, you won't know what to do next. But look at this. Look at this. That's Friday's homework. What two numbers multiply to negative 21 but add to 4? And this is where that multiplication table I gave you might help. Look through and find everything that multiplies to 21. What multiplies to 21? Multiplies to 21. 7 and 3, he says. But it's negative 21, so one of them's got to be negative. Which one's got to be negative? Negative 3, positive 7, right? Because you got to play around with the negatives to make sure they work. Yeah.
Is that 11? Mr. Todd, is that 11x?
This?
Yes.
That's a 3.
No, the second one.
That's an 18? Yeah, I know. It's okay. Just give me a second to make sure I chose good numbers here.
Is that 34?
24. Okay. I ordered. Did I juggle in this class one day? Well, that was the other class. Oh, I was juggling 3 paper clips in the other class, and then they made me like, oh, can you do 4? Which I can't do 4. So I ordered some juggling balls to challenge myself. This one's a challenge because it asks you to do everything we've seen so far in this chapter. Here it comes.
Oh my God.
How do we find the zeros?
Oh, 3. 5 by 3.
Just times it by 0.
Y equals 0. Y equals 0. No Y.
Set y equals 0. I'm going to write it in red. Anthony, is it okay if I write your name in here?
Yeah.
Set y equals 0. Now here's a secret. Even I can't look at this and know what the answers are. I have to do what we're learning to do. Yes? Now I'm going to factor. Write down this stuff in red. It's telling you what to do on these questions. Factor. And when you get your assignment today, there's one you have to do this. What's the number that divides into all these? 3. Oh, what 18 divided by 3? 18. Negative 6. And 24 divided by 3. 24 divided by 3. 8.
4 divided by 3. That equals 8.
I'm not done factoring though. More factoring. Friday factoring. What two numbers multiply to positive 8 but add to negative 6? What two numbers multiply to give positive 8, but when you add them, you get negative 6? Oh, and it's easy. 2 and 4, he says. He's right. It is 2 and 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 plus 4 is negative 6. It's not right. It's close. It's close. Listen to what I said and just fix your answer. You just got to fix it. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 plus 4 is not negative 6. Negative 2 and negative 4. Yeah? So that's the way to do it. Get the numbers you know they are down, and then just fix the negatives. Now I need one more clever person to finish this, to finish my sentence for me, to finish this off. And this part you will remember when I see it. So what are the x values here? Anthony again. X equals 2 or x equals 4. The opposite numbers. You remember that? Some people were answering that on Friday. Do I need the opposite numbers? Now, if your brain's something that's gone, oh, mama, there's going to be a lot of stuff to remember here. I'm like, yes, but the steps are going to be the same. Set y equal to 0 and factor. Set y equals 0 factor. Set y equals 0 factor. It's always going to be like that. I said there were 2 more examples, and I was lying. I fibbed. I think there's one more type I got to show you. Let me look in my well, I don't even know where my stuff is. All right, just a second. Sorry, math help room was busy. I don't have it all organized here. It's in my binder. Yeah, sorry. One last example. Last example. What number divides into both 3 and into 12? 3. But this has more in common. The first one's got x times x. The second one's just got x, which means I can pull an x out too. Now what's the first term? If I took 3x out of it. Just x, yeah. And if I took 3x out of 12x, I get 4. Those are a little bit more difficult. So when you get to those ones in the homework, feel free to do those last. I think there's a couple of early ones, but just feel free to do those last. I've shown you how to do the other ones. These ones are a little more challenging when you got to pull an x out like that. There, in other questions, you might then have to solve for the zeros as well. Yeah, but this one didn't ask for that. It just asked you to factor. What's that? Say it one more time.
Is it okay if I always put it like this?
Oh, yeah, to check it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. To check it. Yeah.